Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel for another video. It's been a while since my last one, but I'm trying to get back to a schedule, so please bear with me. For those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy my content. For those of you who are returning viewers, welcome back. I hope you are all doing well during this crisis, and I'm sure that by the end, we'll all want to forget 2020. So here's a video about memories, specifically all about childhood memories. So let's get started on the video. In front of you is a collection of cars that I've had for a very long time. Some of them I acquired maybe 20, 25 years ago, some much longer than that. It's a combination of Zylmex, Matchbox, and others such as PLAYART, Huskies, Corgis, and Ertls. You can see there are a variety of vehicles. Some are in really good shape, some are in so-so shape, some are in quite well play-worn shape, and some I'm actually surprised they're still holding together, but we're going to go through them all. And hopefully you'll remember, or you'll see some that you either have in your collection, have had in your collection, or still have in your collection. I hope this video finds it entertaining. And let's get started. The first ones I want to get started with are from a company called Zylmex. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly, but that's what they are at the bottom. Now, you could look it up on Wikipedia and stuff like that, but I'm using a book I got in 2002 called Toy Car Collector's Guide. Identification and Values for Diecast, White Metal, Other Automotive Toys and Models by Dana Johnson. I'll show a picture in the video. It says for Zylmex and Z Toys are interchangeable brand names of Zyl Enterprises. Like most, these lightweight diecast and plastic toys are manufactured in China. The quality varies, and believe me, it does. And collector values have remained comparatively low. However, some unusual models have been produced in the past years. Besides a large array of models of different sizes and scales, two product lines stand out, both regularly 1/64 scale dubbed Pace Setters and Dyna Wheels. Pace Setters are the better quality of the two, usually sporting metal chassis, opening doors and other parts, while Dyna Wheels are generally lighter with plastic chassis and no opening parts. Many other series existed, most notably Ridge Riders, approximately 1/24 scale motorcycles, and Dyna Flyers, military airplane toys. Other manufacturers that have carried the Z toy brand names included Ecuador, a Dutch license of Intex Recreation, sets of Z toys. Pace Setters were also used throughout Sears and Roadmates, which could be possibly where some of these have been purchased in the past. Zyl Enterprises went out of business in March of '96, and all dies and trademarks were sold to a Hong Kong firm in '97. The Z-Toy connection with Intex Corporation is that up until '93, Intex was the sole importer of Z-Toys for the US. Now Zyl products are being sold under Redbox brand. Now they do have quite a lot of different ones, but I'll get to the ones I have here, and we'll look at them individually. First one I want to show you is what they call the van killer. It's a representation, I guess, of a Chevy type van in black with orange flames down the side, down the hood with a nice little wing, yellow lights that are part of the interior plastic insert, nice chrome grille, which is slightly being, and it got nice little wheel arches, but as you could see, this one, the sides of this one, the stickers, the flames have completely disappeared. So I mean, if you wanted to, and you got an example with the stickers missing, you could always peel them off and have a nice clean black van. You have really nice arches and around all wheels all the way around. As you could see, it's a completely solid black rear end. Nothing too spectacular there. You do have nice little exhaust pipes coming out the sides on both sides. Now this one here has a metal base plate, and I don't know if you could see, there's a Zylmex Van Killer made in Hong Kong. P343 would be the part number, I'm assuming. Has nice tires on it, nice looking kind of rims. I guess it would be 5-spoke rims or whatever, however you'd call it. And the only thing I find with all the Zylmexes is the axles themselves. I don't know if we could see it in this shot here. They are very thin and tend to warp or bend. But it is, you know, a very nice fan. One that, if found in good condition, you would probably really like in your collection. But the next one I will show you is what they call the straight arrow. It's a yellow kind of van. I don't know if it might represent an earlier Dodge. As you can see, the labels are fine on there. It might be due to age, or it might be the way it's been casting, but it does have quite a lot of pit lines, or pitting throughout the casting. But the majority of the labels are still intact, except for the front one. I'm not sure. I think it might have been type of a stripe as you would at the top. It's a black plastic insert inside, so you really can't see what it is in there. But it does have windows all the way throughout the front and the back. The glazing is actually in nice shape. It does have, again, a nice metal base. And this one is straight arrow, made in Hong Kong, P344. Same thing, the axles are quite thin, and of course on this one here it looks like it has separated from the body, but still in really nice shape. Now, sometimes I wonder what manufacturers think of when they do things weirdly in the casting. So on this side here, they left a big circle where it looks like something should be there. What was there, I'm not entirely sure. But on the other side, they have like a look-through bubble. Now, I tried to shine a light inside or whatever it is in the back to see if this is some neat little trick or something like that to see inside the body. Excuse me. To maybe there's something there, or nope, it's just a weird kind of bubble that they put there just for show. But of course, as you could see, the stickers have completely gone on that side. But again, it's a nice little vehicle. You know, if you can, you could always display it in that way to see the straight arrow side. But well, you know, That's how it is with these type of vehicles. Sometimes you get a good one, sometimes you don't. But I find it's pretty neat, and they do hold out quite nicely. The next one I want to show you is a Wheaties, that they call the Wheaties van. It's a, as you can see at the base, they have P342 Wheaties. I don't know if it's supposed to be released as a promo for the Wheaties, but it looks like it could be a early Dodge van of some sorts. It does appear to have a black interior. You could see all the way through it because of the glass, but other than that, looks like a pretty sparse cabin. You know, the decals on both sides are relatively intact. It has the same thing, a nice metal base. But again, as you can see on these ones, the axles do tend to bend fairly easy because they are quite weak. But it could be like a touring van, or sit inside and see the sights of the stars in your Wheaties van back then. But that's about it for that one. There's nothing too spectacular about it, but you know, for what it is, it's actually a nice representation. The next one I have is the VW van. You got the, what they call it, a combi. They put it as a Volkswagen van P332. It looks like. You know, the axles are in fairly decent shape. The tires, so they are, and the stickers, and they call it, I guess, a drag van. Don't know why exactly, but it's a nice representation of a Volkswagen van. You know, and the paintwork is fairly intact. The body shape is actually quite nice. You know, they give you, I guess it's a 1977. They tend to print the back license plate. It holds out quite nice. You know, the decals actually survived quite well on this one, along with the top drag van and the little sunshine, sun rays there on the side is actually looking quite nice. But other than that, it's a fairly nice representation. But the last one I'd like to show you is one of my personal favorites, and they call that one the Super Van, because it says Super Van on the side and stickers on the glass, which I would know why they would do that and not just put it on the actual body itself, but they did. It's a futuristic looking van all the way around. It says Super Van on stickers that have faded quite nicely, as you can see here. And on this one here, the stickers have tended to peel off, break off. But these are nice decals here. Are painted on. No, I think they're decals, but they tend to look like they're holding on quite nice. The interior, is kind of strange. I'm not sure what's supposed to exactly that's supposed to represent. It looks like there might be a driver's seat, kinda, to the left-hand side. The interior, I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent. But the base again is die-cast again. Call that the Super Van P341, made in Hong Kong again. The axles are really quite nice in this one. They're holding out. The paintwork is still fairly decent on that one, so along with the glazing isn't really too overly scratched up. So I mean, it's held out and weathered quite nice considering the age of it, I guess. But it's hard to tell. I'm assuming that's the front of it, and that's the rear. That would be the engine. Back here would be the engine. That would be the driver position. You know, it rolls quite nicely. But it is an interesting looking vehicle. Now, what we'll do is we'll get to some of the Matchbox, and I'll see you in a sec. Although not all of these Matchbox are in the best of shape, they are really nice, and I do collect them like that, so that's no problem. And of course, this is not all of the Matchboxes I do have, but this is just a representation of the ones from my childhood. What we have is the Fantastic, of course, a Ferrari 308. This would be the Martive D1, and that's they call this one the Vauxhall Gilman. So I'll move them aside and we'll take a look at them individually. So our first one we have here is the Matchbox Fantastic. I guess they would, in the automotive world, I guess they would call that a shooting brake, because it looks like a car slash station wagon put together, kind of like a Nomad would at that point. But you know, it's an interesting kind of vehicle. I'm not sure if it's almost supposed to be like a Mustang body. You know, if you would look at, this is a Ertl, but you could almost kind of forgive that it would be kind of like a Mustang body, front end, sort of inspired look. I'm not sure if it would be or not, but it's close enough. Again, it's nice. The decal has come off the top of it, but the paint is still fairly nicely intact. As you can see, it's a nice white body. 1975, a Lesney Matchbox, super fast. The tires I've seen quite a bit of wear, because of course I've probably rolled them at some point along cement like every other kid ever does. And it has survived quite nice. Nothing really opens on it, but it's a nice representation of a neat vehicle that Matchbox put out at the time. Now the next one, for you Ferrari fans, you'll be quite familiar with this one, of course. It's the Ferrari 308, and of course, always cat hair stuck on something nowadays, considering I have cats. But this one, of course, I'm a huge Ferrari lover, as eventually you'll notice, you'll see. But it has, considering that, you know, the paint is still fairly intact. Oh, the glazing didn't quite survive very well, along with the coloring of the rims, but it's 19, I guess it would be 81 that they're showing there. 308 GTB, Lesney England, Matchbox, but it has survived quite nicely. So the next one I want to show you is the Monteverdi 1. It's a nice little piece. It has survived actually quite well. You know, the label at the front is held on quite nice. It does have opening features, and the doors are nicely sprung on both sides, so it does have a little bit of play value, but I guess that was what it would be. Like I said, it doesn't have quite a lot of play value, but I could only assume that after a while the doors would get broken off or missing if you were to find a relatively okay example. The paint is still good. It's a blue type of glazing, but it does have a bit of a crack at the front. Of course, it's a bare metal base. The number 3 Monteverdi on it. 73. And it has survived quite nicely. It's a nice, interesting looking little vehicle. And I'll get to the next one, which is the Vauxhall Guildsman, which is a nice little vehicle. Now, this isn't decal, it's actually tampoed on, so it has held out quite a lot better than most. It's again a bare metal base. Let's get it the right way. As you can see, Guildsman, 1971. Why it has a trailer hitch on it is beyond me, but it's right-hand drive. It's a nice yellow interior with yellow glass on it. It's a nice little futuristic looking vehicle. So you can see everything is fairly intact. Paint is still in good condition. And one of my favorites that I do display in my collection. Now what we'll do is we'll go to some of the other ones and you'll see a vast array of different types from different manufacturers. Now the first one I want to show you is a Corvette. Of course, this one, as you could see, has had way too much play with it. A lot of the paint is missing, but the decals, or I should say the tampo printing, is still actually quite intact. But as you could see, the tires and wheels and axles are way beyond bent. But again, it's one of the few vehicles like this I have, which is PLAYART. Now, I made a video a while back about a transporter I have, which is a PLAYART. And I said I, don't have any vehicles that are PLAYART. Well, apparently I do, and I didn't remember I had. So this is a PLAYART Corvette Stingray. But, of course, it's quite well beaten to the point of it just being a display piece, if that's how you like to display your vehicles. Some guys will just put it into their junk pile or try to restore it, but I do display it like that because I do like the wear and tear of a toy to an extent, of course. I mean, if pieces are missing, I usually don't display it, but I mean, if it's intact with all the tires, glass, and all the bumpers and stuff, I do display it like that. Now, the next one I want to show you is from Husky, and it is called a NSU RO80, or number 80, I hope it is. I don't know. RO80, yes. As you could see, Husky models. It's made in Great Britain. The tires, and of course you could see in here the axles are actually quite thick, so it has survived that way. Paint wear is excessive in spots, but not overly bad. Glass is all still there. But it does have an opening panel where you could see a little bit of the engine, which is also molded in. You can see right there with the interior, but of course it's, you know, plastic that's been chromed does tend to wear away, so it looks almost opaque. But it is all still intact, and of course, like most other vehicles, I do display it that way. Now, next few are going to be from Corgi, so I'll put that one aside. And first one we have is a mobile mixer. From the Corgi Junior line, with a nice plastic yellow base, still fairly well intact. Paintwork is very well still intact, along with the mixer, which I don't know, usually we would break off or split down the two cast lines. Axles are all finely well, but it is kind of, because of the way the spring system is on it, it does tend to kind of eventually settle to a point where they won't really spin very well, but as a nice display piece, it works quite well. The next one is a Porsche 917, which again, some of my favorite cars because I do like European models. And this is the Porsche 917 with no racing markings or anything like that. It's just a generic looking vehicle toy, and it's on their Whiz Wheels line. Corgi Juniors. Corgi, I guess, tried to get into manufacturing the smaller 1/64 scale cars because of Matchbox, of course, and Hot Wheels coming in, and Majorette, who also made some various vehicles, but this one is quite well survived. The paintwork is all pretty much intact. It does have the metal base. The glazing all the way around is all intact and not really overly scratched up. Relatively decent engine detail in the kind of chromed plastic, but it does hold out very well. And of course, I do display it along with some of my other Porsches that I have from Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and various other manufacturers. Now, the next one is the Marcos XP, which is the one I'm about to show you here. Excuse me. And of course, this is another one of my nice little favorites. Because it has survived actually quite well and is, again, a Corgi Junior Whiz Wheels, Marcos XP, Great Britain. Tires and wheels and axles have survived really well. It rolls really nice. As you could see, the glazing all the way around has survived actually really well, along with the nice little glazing that is in the headlights. I'm not sure if there used to be a sticker in here or not. It looks like there's something sticky. I have tried to get it off, but I was worried about eating the paint. So I didn't, but there's a nice little glazing over the engine. You could see it's a nice gold colored engine. Looks like an 8-cylinder. So I could believe that this little bugger, if it was real, would be going pretty fast. The interior looks, of course, really cramped. Right-hand drive. Of course, being Great Britain, that makes perfect sense. But it has actually survived very well. So what we'll get into next is a couple examples of Ertl and what they had brought out. First one would be being 63 Corvette Stingray. I'll get my hand out of the way and let it focus. Of course, this one has had quite a bit of wear. It's been beaten up quite nicely. Rear axles look like they have actually sunken into the body. Front ones looks not bad, but it does have a bit of engine detail in a black molded plastic, which is really hard to see. And a nice chrome base you could see, Corvette Stingray. And I do like the 63s because of the split window, but I'm not quite sure, but even as a mold, but I think that the back split is probably a little bit wide, so I think if you Corvette guys know and want to leave me a comment about it, let me know. But it is a fairly nice vehicle from Ertl. Now the next one you saw a little bit earlier, I was trying to describe with the Fantastic, which is the Mustang Mach. And other than the paint being in relatively decent shape for the car it does have a few features, which is the opening doors, but sadly you have to really fiddle with them. Let's see, not to open, but to keep closed in the proper location, because they are sprung. They don't want to kind of sit properly in the body. So in this case it's a nice little feature, but I probably would have preferred them just to have a sealed body on it. Maybe the engine opening. As you could see, it's the Ford Mustang Mach 1 from Ertl. It's a nice little representation. Of course the stance is a little bit off, of course, and big meats in the back, but the axles are still good, quite straight, and is holding out. Now the last one I have is a 57 Chevy in the yellow, and I think it is held out quite nicely. Casting is quite good. It has had, of course, a little bit of wear and tear in the paint. It's a plastic base with 57 Chevy and Ertl. Nicely faded away. The hood does open, and I'm assuming that's some type of a representation of an engine, but you really can't see it. It may have had some type of a little bit of an insert at one point on the top that showed the engine, but I'm not entirely sure when it's missing, or if it ever did missing, or if it just is like that. If any of you own this vehicle and know, please leave a comment about it. But it is a very nice vehicle. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is memories from childhood past on some fun 164 die-casts that have survived, some not as well, some fairly well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank everyone who's left me comments in the past. Some have left me comments that have actually helped with certain features on vehicles that I didn't know were there or didn't pay close enough attention to, so I'm very grateful about that. Others that have left me comments that have liked my videos. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. And everyone, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.